We have been spending the past few days in setting up the structure, including the main application and the status bar application here. Today we are going to work on the actual styling. So although it may not be exactly the same, it would be more like black background style, as well as some of the auto layouts around. So let's get it started. In terms of the modern Cocoa application, and it provides a really quick way in setting up the modern translucent effect. Translucent here means like the one on the side here. If I move around, you can actually see color from the background. Or if you look at some other application, they have similar effects. In this case, instead of the light visual effect, we'll be using the dark one, which will look like what we want in here. And then for the two parts underneath, we will have a gray and black color, which is a solid color as the background. So let's do it one by one, starting with the player control. In the player control, we can look at the current structure. It composed of the main view here, and then we add a custom view with the other controls inside the custom view. In this case, we can just drag the visual effect wheel to within custom view and put it at the top of the wheel stack, which means it would become the background of the other controls. I will drag a little bit on the size until it fits to the size of the parent's custom view. And then I will add the auto layout for it, setting it to all zeros for the 4 borders. And now take a look on the right side with the attribute inspector. The default blending mode here is behind window, meaning that it will try to blend the color behind the current window and take like the background color, take a snapshot, and then put it as a blur background and show it on our current visual effect view. Let's run the application now and see what it looks like. If I hide the Xcode and other application here, you can see there is a dark background showing up, and then it is having a translucent effect to show the background on the desktop with the desktop photo here. So it doesn't take much time, but we could already add a modern effect to our current application. Of course, after adding this black style, we want to check our controls here to see whether it is having a strong enough contrast. For instance, say if I am playing a song, the song name and the song label here is still in black color, and we couldn't see clearly for those controls. So we will need to make some changes to the color of the labels. For example, like this, it is currently setting as black for the label color. We want to choose it here as other and select white color from the color palette. We will do the same for the text color of the time label as well. Run the application again. So as you can see, it is a lot more clear to view the text of the labels. So next one, as we are doing player control, let's do the status item view controller as well. Similarly, we will drag this visual effect view to the custom view we have here at the top, which means the background of the other controls. Again, make sure it is about the size of the parent view, and then add the auto layout to stick this visual effect view to the borders of the super view. Now we could run the application and see whether it has the same effect. The status item can be clicked here. Now we have some problems about those labels. It shows kind of a background color. As you may remember, we literally copied these labels from our player control, but it behaves a bit differently. Say for example, the song name label here is an independent component, just like this is an independent one in the player control. So here I've actually found a bug. It may not be that critical, but the bug here is doing when it is copying, it kind of change something internally. As you look at the attributes inspector for the time label, the song label, all the settings here are actually the same. So to resolve this, a simple way would be just removing this label and then add a new one. Then I'm going to say put some words over there. And we need to add the auto layout back to it as we set it to horizontal and vertically within the container, like this. As there were some constraints from the stack wheel at the top and the bottom relating to the song label, there are some missing constraints appearing. What we could do here is simply set the constraint or just add the missing constraints according to the suggestions here, like this, and it will resolve the conflicts already. After adding this new label, make sure we link it up back to the IP outlet. So in this case, it is referring to the status item view controller, and we go one level up to the superclass. Song name label should be linking to this variable song title label. I simply just drag it back to the label in our current view and then run the application again. As you can see, Now the background color disappears, and if I play the song and switch it, it is now able to show the white label color nicely. We want to further change a little bit because the default value as we wanted was empty string. So how about I just remove this, and then here make sure I am using, okay, maybe undo it, and then I will add a width constraint here, say to 100, then removing the content, and now use command alternate equal sign to set the constraint back to the position it should be, and then run the application again. Now it is empty by default, but when I start playing the song, it will show up. Perhaps I should set it to align at the middle. And I need it to be wider for long song names. After the song name label, we want to do the same thing for the time label. So again, first remove it, and then add the label back. Put it at the position we want. Set the default value for it. This label has a auto-layer constraint related to the stack root at the middle. So I can drag and set horizontal spacing. Also, we want to set it to be center vertically, and this one will have a width of 30, as that's what we set before. Use command alternate equal sign to reposition it. The last thing to do is to make sure it is linked back to the IP outlet, and the variable we used before was the time label. Now run the application and take a look. We can start playing the song. Next. The song name and the time label now shows nicely on both the status bar app and the main application. It's time to do a commit. Let me call it as add visual effects wheel to player control. Alright, time to set up something in the main application for the playlist and the table view. Start with the playlist side. This time we want a solid color in displaying the outline list. The first thing to do is to check the outline view. Make sure you are selecting the one within the clip view. And then we go to Attributes Inspector and Background. Here I'm going to pick a color using the Xcode. We go to our Sketch app and check the color we used during the design time. This is having a hex code of 252525, which is a gray color. I can put it the same here. And now the color becomes like this. If I run the application now, the color is shown accordingly already. But this time, I actually want the effect being used for the bottom part here as well. So one thing we could do is to use the visual effect wheel again. In here, I'm going to drag this visual effect wheel to our main wheel of the wheel controller. I resize it to hold the whole wheel controller here. The next step, I'm going to drag this scroll wheel within the visual effect wheel. We will lose the constraint for a while as the structure and the tree hierarchy of the wheels is changed. So I'm looking briefly at what we have right now, and I'm going to reset those again after dragging into visual effect wheel. So now drag under visual effect wheel, and I'm going to add back some of the auto layout constraints, starting with the font size, which I will just set it to 0. And then I actually want it bigger, so I need to resolve before doing that. I should actually set the visual effect wheel first. It should have the auto layout according based on the parent wheel. I will set the constraints here to all zeros. And now go to the border scope wheel to fix the frames by command alternate equal. So that's what I want. And now run the application. So now the background looks nice, but we have some glitches about the background color of the text field here. To fix this, actually it is quite easy. First, we notice that the text field here doesn't have that problem, so I'm going to make a comparison between these text fields. If I go to here and check the songs text field and then select the count here, the obvious difference here would be the text color. So that's the trick. Just change the text color back to control text color. I'm going to do the same to the library label here. Change it to control text color. And now run this again. So as you can see, the problem is resolved. I'm going to make a commit to this again. As like set background for playlist. The last thing to do would be this main part of the application. as you can see, it's all in black color. So the first thing I'm going to do is to find the table view here, the one inside clip wheel. Go to Attributes Inspector and find background. And here I'm going to choose a color of black. If I run it now, the main part turns into black already, which is quite good. But the table header view here is not changed yet. If I find the table header view here, there is no way for me to change the color. In this case, I need to make a little bit trick by overriding the class of table header view and then change the color within the code. In here, I'm going to create a new class within the views groups. Say I'm calling it headers. And then I'm going to create class, which is a subclass of NS table header view. And I would call this as custom table header view. Create the corresponding folders to store the file. Like this. This NS table header view at the end is a subclass of NS view. So it has the draw red function for us to draw some custom code. But I don't need this. What I really want is returning the background color when it is awake from lib. So say here, I'm going to override the awake from lib function, and then within the code, first say wants layer, so it adds the layer to the view. Then I could use the layer.background color method property to set the color into black. In setting color to CALayer, we need to turn the NS color into CG color, simply calling .cg color in any NS color. Then in our table header view here, we need to set the class to custom table header view. Now if I run the application, it loads the header view here and go to load the class we just created. It calls the awake from lib function and then run the code in setting the layer with the black background color. So as you can see, it still doesn't change. We need one more trick to do that, which is, again, using visual effects wheel. What I'm going to do is to drag the visual effects wheel to the parent view, resize it just as big as the parent view, add the auto layout so that it is always having 0 length from the borders of the parent view. Then again, we will drag the scroll wheel here into visual effect wheel. After doing that, we need to set the auto layout again for the font size, like this. Now, in visual effect wheel for the attributes, it is using the behind window blending mode. I'm going to turn it to within window because I'm not going to show the background, say from the desktop. Now I could run the application. It is now showing like this, which is already close to what we want. One thing we can further work on is to reduce the blur effect in the header. To do that, we go to the custom header view and override this property called allows vibrancy. I will return false for this case. Now, as you may see, it is becoming more sharper in the color tone. But anyway, this helps us to fix the styles of our current application for both the main application and the status bar application. And let's end it today.